When Donald Trump ducks into a modest New Jersey cafe one rainy April morning in 2025, he stumbles upon something unexpected. Ellie Warren, a 24-year-old waitress with weary eyes and a stubborn spark, scraping by to keep her head above water after life's relentless blows. What happens next will reshape her world in ways she never dared to dream. A chance meeting igniting a path from exhaustion to opportunity, showing that even in the smallest corners, the spark of potential waits to be lit. The rain hadn't let up, but the day carried a whisper of something new. Ellie Warren scrubbed the counter at Brew Haven, her hands moving in quick, familiar swipes over the worn laminate. The cafe was a narrow strip of faded comfort, cracked vinyl booths, a silent jukebox in the corner, and a handful of regulars hunched over their mugs under the flicker of old lights. It was 6:45 a.m., the breakfast crowd still an hour off, and the rain drummed a steady beat against the steamed-up windows. Her apron sagged over her faded jeans and gray tee, the name tag, Ellie, crooked from a double shift that had ended at midnight. Sleep was a luxury she couldn't afford. Her sister's pull-out sofa in Newark was free but stiff, and the $2.13 hourly wage plus tips barely covered gas and ramen. "Ellie, coffee's thin," muttered Gus, the grizzled mechanic at his usual stool, tapping his cup. "Coming," she said, her voice quiet but firm, grabbing the pot to top him off. Gus was a constant, grease-stained hands, early riser, always grumbling, but he left a buck every time, and that added up. She'd been at Brew Haven for 18 months, picking up every shift she could grab since the warehouse where she'd sorted packages folded, taking her $14 an hour gig with it. That job had kept her tiny studio afloat until the eviction notice 6 months back sent her to her sister's couch. "Sugar?" she asked Gus, already knowing. "Nope, black," he growled, "same as yesterday." The bell over the door chimed, slicing through the stillness, and Ellie looked up, expecting Gus's buddy Sal. Instead, a broad figure in a damp coat stepped in, brushing rain off his shoulders. Donald Trump, unmistakable even with his hair slicked back from the wet. Her stomach lurched. Everyone knew him, the guy calling shots from D.C. But why this hole in the wall? 2 suits lingered by the entrance. Secret Service, no doubt, as he scanned the room and slid into a booth near the back, away from the windows. Ellie grabbed a menu, smoothing her apron as she walked over, her sneakers scuffing the worn tile. "Morning," she said, placing it down, keeping her tone even despite the jitters. "Coffee." Trump glanced up, his blue eyes sharp but shadowed, like he'd been up chasing deals, or laws, longer than she'd been pouring refills. "Yeah, black, strong. And a muffin, blueberry if you've got it." "We do," she said, scribbling it quick, then paused. "You're not, off the map here, are you?" He chuckled, a rough sound. "Nah, just early. Heading upstate. Needed a pit stop." She nodded, stepping back. "Don't dig, just pour," and turned to the counter, her hands unsteady as she prepped his order. The coffee maker gurgled, and she poured a steaming mug, snagging a blueberry muffin from the case, still warm, no frills. Gus watched, his bushy brows lifting. "That the guy?" he muttered low. "Yeah," she hissed, keeping her eyes down. "Don't gawk." She carried it back, setting the mug and plate on the table. "Here, coffee muffin. Anything else?" Trump took a sip, grimacing slightly, too bitter maybe, then glanced around. The cafe was dead, just Gus and a trucker flipping his paper. "Quiet today?" he asked, nodding at the empty booths. "Early. Gets busy at 8, she said, wiping her hands on her apron. "Folks want bacon then." He grunted, his gaze drifting to the counter. Her beat-up purse wedged underneath, a library book sticking out, basics of digital photography. "You into pictures?" he asked, pointing with his mug. Ellie stiffened. Chatting with Trump wasn't part of her morning plan. "Sort of," she said, shifting her weight. "Used to shoot stuff, phone mostly, at my old job. Warehouse went bust, though." "Rough," he said, breaking off a piece of muffin. "What happened?" She kept it short, shrugging. "Company sank, took half the jobs around here with it. Been slinging coffee since." He nodded, chewing, like he'd heard that tune before. Probably had, with DC on his plate. The bell jingled again, Lila, the librarian, shuffling in with her thermos, and Ellie excused herself, grabbing decaf to fill Lila's usual order. But Trump's stare lingered, not pushy, just steady. She felt it, a tickle on her spine, and when she glanced back, he was thumbing her book, its dog-eared pages catching his eye. "Photography, huh?" he called, loud enough to turn Gus's head. Ellie poured Lila's decaf, her cheeks warming. "Yeah, nothing serious," she said, walking back with the pot. "Just messed around with it, filters, angles." Keeps me sane. Sane's good, he said, flipping a page, some photo of a rusty bridge she'd marked. Why'd you stop? She shrugged again, refilling his mug without asking. No gear, no time, job went, apartment followed. Couch surfing doesn't leave much for hobbies. He took another sip, quieter this time, his eyes narrowing, not judging, just seeing. Ever think of doing it for real? She blinked. Random question from a random guy, except he wasn't random. Used to, she said, cautious. Had a phone app, edited shots for fun. Boss at the warehouse liked M. Used one for a flyer once. Then poof. She waved a hand, gone. Trump leaned back, muffin half-eaten, his coffee cooling. Talent's talent, doesn't poof. He tapped the book, then pulled out his phone, thumbing a quick text. Marla, probably his fixer. Ellie shifted, unsure. Why'd he care? She wasn't some sob story for a photo op. Look, he said, pocketing it. I'm not here to preach. But I know people, good ones. Stick around after my coffee, 5 minutes. Worth it. Her gut twisted. 5 minutes with the president in her greasy cafe? I've got tables, she said, glancing at Gus and Lila. They'll live, he said, grinning, a flash of that old TV charm. 5 minutes. She nodded, hesitant, and turned back to the counter, topping off Gus's mug to keep busy. Her hands shook. Stupid, it's just coffee talk, but something in his tone stuck. That Queen's memory flickered, Mrs. Delaney's kids, soup on the stoop, a knock he never made. He'd seen too many poofs, jobs, homes, chances, since then running deals, now laws. Ellie wasn't them, but she was close, too close. The bell chimed again, Sal, late today, and she poured his usual, her mind spinning. 5 minutes, what could he do in 5? Trump finished his muffin, coffee down to dregs, and waved her over as she cleared Lila's cup. All right, he said, standing, tossing a 20 on the table, way over the tab. Here's the deal. I've got a guy, Pete Rossi, runs a design shop upstate. Photos, ads, good outfit. He owes me big. You've got a knack, show me. He pointed at her phone, poking out of her apron. Ellie froze, show him? It's junk shots, she said, fishing it out, her cracked screen glowing as she swiped. Old pics. A warehouse sunset, a rusted truck, Gus's hands on his mug. Rough, but hers. He scrolled, squinting, then grunted. Not junk, raw. Rossi'd eat this up. He handed it back, pulling a card from his coat. Plain, just a number. Text me one, best you've got. I'll send it on, 5 minutes, like I said. She stared at the card, her pulse loud. Pete Rossi? Design shop. Why? She asked, blunt. He paused, that Queen's shadow crossing his face. Saw a kid miss a shot once, didn't step up. Regret's a killer. You're not missing yours. She didn't get it, not fully, but took the card, her fingers brushing the edge. The suits moved, time up, and Trump headed out, rain swallowing his coat. Ellie stood, card in hand, the cafe's hum kicking back, Gus slurping, Sal grumbling. She tucked it in her apron, swiping her phone, best shot. That warehouse sunset, orange bleeding into steel. Her thumb hovered, send it? Crazy, but what's 5 minutes? She typed quick, Ellie Brew Haven, and hit send, the whoosh loud in her ears. The bell chimed, morning rush starting, and she grabbed the pot, her hands steadier now. Outside, the rain slowed, streaking the windows, and she poured refills, the card's weight a quiet hum against her ribs. The rain had thinned to a drizzle by 8 a.m. at Brew Haven. The cafe's windows streaked with wet as the breakfast rush kicked in. Ellie Warren darted between tables, her sneakers squeaking on the tile, pouring coffee for the regulars, Sal, Lila, a couple of truckers fresh off the highway. The air buzzed with clinking mugs and low chatter, the scent of bacon grease cutting through the damp. Her apron pocket sagged with Trump's card, its edges sharp against her hip, and her cracked phone stayed tucked beside it. Still no reply to that sunset shot she'd sent an hour ago. She'd half expected nothing. He was the president, not some talent scout haunting Jersey dives. Ellie, more cream, Sal grunted, waving his mug. She grabbed the pitcher, topping him off, her hands steady despite the hum in her chest. Trump's visit, muffin coffee, that 5-minute pitch. Felt like a glitch, a story she'd tell her sister Tara later, laughing over stale chips on the pullout. But the card was real, and that photo, orange bleeding into steel, was the best she'd ever caught, raw and jagged like her life. She shook it off, weaving through the crowd. Don't dream too big, it stings worse when it flops. The bell chimed, and Tara slipped in. 26, wiry, her deli apron swapped for a hoodie after her night shift. She slid into a booth, waving Ellie over. You're late, Ellie said, setting down a decaf, black, Tara's usual. Bus broke down, rain's a mess, Tara said, peeling off her damp sleeves. Heard you had a VIP. Gus wouldn't shut up. Ellie smirked, refilling a trucker's mug nearby. Yeah, Trump, big coat, bigger tip. Ordered a muffin. Tara's brows shot up. Here, what's he want with this dump? Pit stop, upstate thing, Ellie said, wiping her hands. Asked about my photos, warehouse stuff. Tara leaned in, eyes glinting. Photos? Like your old filter tricks. Yeah, gave me a card, some guy named Rossi, design shop, Ellie said, pulling it from her apron, the number stark against white. Tara snatched it, squinting. Pete Rossi, sounds legit. You send him something. That sunset, warehouse roof, Ellie said, her voice low. Hour ago, no ping back. Tara grinned, handing it over. Big shot like Trump doesn't toss cards for kicks, text him again, nudge it. Ellie shrugged, pocketing it. Busy man, probably forgot. The rush peaked, orders piling, bacon sizzling, and Ellie moved fast, pouring, plating, pocketing quarters. Her phone buzzed mid-shift, mid-pour, and she fumbled it out, unknown number, a text. Ellie shot's good. Rossi's in. Meet him tomorrow, 10 a.m., 42 Main, Patterson. Bring more. DT. Her breath caught, coffee sloshing over Gus's rim. Watch it, he grumbled, and she muttered, sorry, wiping it quick, her pulse loud. Tomorrow, Patterson, 40 minutes away. On a Tuesday? She'd have to ditch her morning shift, beg Tara to cover rent if tips tanked. She ducked behind the counter, texting Tara across the room. Trump texted, meet some Rossi guy tomorrow, 10. Real? Tara's eyes widened, thumbs flying. Hell yes, go. I'll crash here, cover you. Ellie's gut twisted, real, too real. She swiped her gallery, more shots, a cracked loading dock, Tara's hands slicing salami, rain on a busted windshield. Rough, hers maybe good enough. The bell chimed, more truckers, and she shoved the phone back, pouring refills, her mind racing. Rossi, design shop, Trump's guy. 5 minutes had turned into this? Lunch slowed, and Ellie slipped to the break room, a closet with a folding chair, scrolling her shots, picking 3, dock, hands, rain. She texted them to the number, Ellie, more for Rossi. Thanks, Dot, and hit send, the whoosh sharp in the quiet. No reply yet. She leaned back, the chair creaking, Trump's words looping. Talent's talent, doesn't poof. Her old warehouse boss had liked her flyer, pinned it up till the doors locked. Maybe this Rossi would too, maybe. She stood, apron strings tight, and headed back, tables waiting, tips to scrape. Afternoon dragged, rain easing, regulars thinning, and Tara lingered, sipping decaf. You're going, right? She asked, elbows on the table. If I can swap shifts, smell might flake, Ellie said, wiping a booth. Make it work. Trump's not Sal, Tara said, grinning. This is your shot, literally. Ellie nodded, half smiling. Shot, yeah, funny. Her phone stayed silent, and she checked it twice, nothing. Rossi'd see her pics soon, tomorrow maybe, and she'd be there or not. The bell chimed, Mel, her relief, early for once, and Ellie untied her apron, clocking out. Cover me tomorrow, 10? She asked Mel, who shrugged. Yeah, if you owe me. Deal, she said, grabbing her purse. She stepped outside, the drizzle cool on her face, and pulled her hoodie up, Tara's old one, frayed at the cuffs. The highway hummed nearby, trucks rumbling, and she walked to the bus stop, her sneakers splashing shallow puddles. Her phone buzzed, unknown again. Rossi saw the shots. 10's good, bring your eye. PR. Her stomach flipped. Rossi, not Trump. Real happening. She texted Tara, he's in 10 tomorrow. And Tara shot back, told you, rocket. Ellie tucked the phone away, the card's weight still there, her breath fogging in the damp air. The bus roared up, brakes hissing, and she climbed on, the wet seats cold against her jeans. Rain streaked the windows, blurring the cafe's glow as it faded behind her, and she leaned her head back, eyes tracing the glass, shots, a meeting, a maybe spinning out of a rainy morning. The Tuesday morning sky hung gray over Patterson, New Jersey, on April 22nd, 2025, a light mist clinging to the streets as Ellie Warren stepped off the bus at 9:45 a.m. Her sneakers hit the cracked sidewalk, her hoodie, Tara's old one, damp at the edges from the half-hour ride. She'd swapped her Brew Haven shift with Mel, promising an extra Saturday to cover it, and her phone clutched 3 photos, dock, hands, rain, sent to Rossi last night. The address, 42 Main, was a squat brick building wedged between a pawn shop and a laundromat, its faded sign reading Rossi Creative in chipped paint. Her stomach churned. 10 a.m., a design guy Trump knew, a shot she hadn't asked for but couldn't shake. She adjusted her purse, the strap digging into her shoulder, and checked her phone. 9:50. No new texts from Rossi or that number Trump had used. Her cracked screen glowed with Tara's last message. "Knock, I'm dead. Call me after." She'd barely slept, replaying those warehouse shots, raw, messy hers, wondering if they'd laugh her out. The bus ride had been quiet, just her and a guy snoring in the back, and she'd stared at her reflection in the window, hair pulled back, eyes tired but sharp. This wasn't Brew Haven. This was something else, and she wasn't sure she fit. The door buzzed as she pushed in, a bell jangling overhead. The lobby was tight, peeling wallpaper, a sagging couch, a desk with a guy in his 30s, wiry, glasses perched on his nose. "Ellie Warren?" he asked, glancing up from a laptop. "Yeah," she said, her voice catching, hands shoving into her hoodie pockets. "Here for Rossi, 10 a.m. He nodded, tapping a key. "Pete's expecting you, back room, straight through." She followed his point down a short hall, past framed posters, sleek ads for beer, a car wash, a diner. Her sneakers silent on the worn carpet. Her pulse thudded, Trump's guy real now. Pete Rossi stood behind a cluttered desk, mid-40s broad, his flannel shirt rolled to the elbows, gray streaking his buzz cut. The room smelled of ink and coffee, walls plastered with photos, cityscapes, faces, a rusted bridge like hers. "Ellie, right?" he said, his voice gravelly, offering a hand. She shook it, firm but quick. "Yeah, Trump sent me." Rossi grinned, leaning back. "Heard that. Big man's got an eye for strays. Sit." She took the chair, its cushions sagging, her purse on her lap like a shield. He pulled up her shots on a monitor, dock, hands, rain, blown up, sharp. "These you?" he asked, squinting. "Yeah, phone stuff, old job," she said, her throat dry. "Not fancy." "Fancy's overrated," he said, zooming on the dock, cracks spidering out, shadows deep. "This grit's good. Tells a story. Where'd you learn?" She shrugged, fingers twisting the strap. "Nowhere, just messed around. Warehouse had slow days. Snapped what I saw." He nodded, clicking to Tara's hands. Salami mid-slice, light catching the blade. "This one's tight, motion texture. You edit." "App free one," she said, quieter. "Filters, mostly." "Ross better," he said, leaning forward, elbows on the desk. "Trump says you're a waitress. Brew something?" "Brew Haven, coffee muffins," she said, half smiling. "Not this." "Doesn't matter. Eyes eye," he said, tapping the screen. "I do ads, small stuff, local gigs. Need shots. Real ones, not stock crap." "You in?" Her breath hitched. "In? Like a job?" "What's that mean?" she asked, cautious. "Freelance. Shoot what I need, I pay per gig. Start small, $1.50 a pop, see if you stick. $50, a week's tips in a morning." "No gear," she said, honest. "Phone's it cracked too." He rummaged in a drawer, tossing a battered Nikon across the desk, scratched heavy. "Old kit, mine till you earn your own. Charger's in the bag." She caught it, her fingers tracing the lens, real solid. "Why me?" she asked, blunt. Rossi leaned back, scratching his jaw. "Trump vouched, says you've got hustle. These shots, they're rough, but they've got bones." "I need bones, polish I can teach." She nodded slow. "Hustle, yeah, she had that." "Okay, $1.50's good. What's first?" "Diner up the street, greasy joint, needs a menu spread." "Tomorrow, noon. Bring this," he said, tapping the camera. She clutched it, the weight grounding her. "Tomorrow, noon, a gig." "Deal," she said, standing, purse slung over her shoulder. "Text me the spot." "Will do," he said, already back to his screen, her shots still glowing. She walked out, the Nikon in her bag, the hall's posters sharper now, her eyes picking lines light. The lobby guy waved, and she pushed into the mist, the street wet under her sneakers. Her phone buzzed. Rossi. "Diner's Joey's Grease Pit, 12 tomorrow, shoot food vibe." She texted back, "Got it," and pocketed it, the drizzle cool on her face. The bus stop was empty, and she sat on the bench, Nikon out, fiddling with the buttons. Click, were a test shot of a pawn shop sign, blurry but hers. Tarot freak, $1.50, a camera, a start. She'd call her later, after the ride, when the buzz settled. Her stomach growled, coffee all morning, no food. And she fished a granola bar from her purse, stale but enough. The bus rolled up, brakes hissing, and she climbed on, the Nikon heavy against her hip. She slid into a seat, the window fogged, and traced a finger through it, streaks curling, a frame taking shape. The engine rumbled, pulling her back to Newark, the city's gray slipping past as she held the lens up, squinting through it, the world tilting sharp and new. Wednesday morning dawned damp and gray over Patterson on April 23, 2025, the air thick with the scent of wet asphalt as Ellie Warren stepped off the bus at 11:50 a.m. Her sneakers splashed through shallow puddles, the borrowed Nikon bouncing in her purse, its strap cutting into her shoulder. She'd spent the night on Tara's pullout, fiddling with the camera, snapping test shots of the couch, Tara's chipped mug, the streetlight through the blinds, until the battery blinked red. The charger hummed till dawn, and now it was full, ready for Joey's grease pit, her first gig. $50, small, but hers, if she didn't screw it up. The diner sat a block from Rossi's shop, its neon sign buzzing Joey's in flickering red, the G long dead. Grease stained the air even outside, and Ellie pushed through the door, the bell clanging over the hum of a sizzling grill. The place was a time capsule, checkered floor, vinyl stools, a waitress chewing gum behind the counter. Truckers and a few locals hunched over plates. Eggs, hash browns, coffee steaming in chipped mugs. Ellie's stomach growled. She'd skipped breakfast, too wired to eat Tara's stale cereal. And she gripped the Nikon tighter, scanning for Rossi or someone who'd care about shots. A guy in a grease-smeared apron, mid-30s, stocky, a mop of dark hair, waved from the grill. "You the photo girl?" he called, flipping a burger. "Yeah, Ellie for Rossi," she said, stepping closer, the heat hitting her face. "Joey," he said, nodding at a booth. "Sit, busy now, shoot when it slows. Burgers, fries, make 'em look good." She slid in, the vinyl creaking, and pulled the Nikon out, setting it on the table. Her hands shook. First gig, no clue where to start, but she swiped her phone, scrolling Rossi's text. Shoot food vibe, real, not fake. Real, okay, she could do real. The lunch rush roared, orders barked, plates clattering, and Ellie watched the Nikon idle. Joey slung burgers, the waitress, Marcy, her tag said, hustled trays, her gum popping loud. Ellie's eyes traced the scene. Grease sheen on the counter, steam curling from a coffee pot, a trucker's weathered hands on his fork. Vibe gritty, alive. She lifted the camera, framing Marcy mid-pour. Click, whir, the shutter loud in her ears. Marcy glanced over, smirking. "What, I'm famous now?" "Maybe," Ellie said, half smiling, snapping another, coffee stream hitting the mug, sharp and warm. Rush eased by 1 p.m., tables thinning, and Joey waved her up. "Now, shoot this," he said, sliding a burger plate, juicy patty, fries spilling, ketchup pooling. She knelt by the counter, angling the Nikon, light from the window, grease glinting, click. Too dark, damn. She fiddled with the dial, a faint memory of Tara's old camera kicking in. F-stop, maybe? And tried again, click, brighter, better. Joey grunted, watching. "Good. Getting there," she said, shifting for fries, crisp edges, salt catching the glow. Click, click. Real, not Instagram fake, just diner real. Marcy leaned over, gum snapping. "Make my pie pretty. Apple's the best." Ellie grinned, grabbing a slice, gooey golden, framing it tight, click, then wider, Marcy's hand sliding it over, click. Joey flipped another burger, grease popping, and she caught it mid-air. Click, blurry but alive. "You're quick," he said, plating it. "Rossi's picky, hope you're good." "Me too," she muttered, zooming on the sizzle, click, her hands steadier now. $50. Coffee shifts didn't shake like this. She shot till 2 plates, hands, the jukebox's dust, a trucker's laugh. 50 clicks, maybe more. Joey wiped his hands, nodding. "Enough?" "Think so," she said, scrolling the Nikon's tiny screen. Burger sharp, pie soft, Marcy's smirk real. "Rossi'll see, text him these?" "Yeah, tell him Joey says pay up," he said, half grinning. She packed the camera, her purse lighter now, and stepped out, the mist cool on her face. Her phone buzzed, Rossi. "Send him, quick turnaround." She sat on a curb, swiping shots, burger, pie, grill flare, texting 10 to his number, the whoosh fast and final. The bus was late, 2:30, and she leaned against a pole, Nikon out, snapping a puddle. Rainbows in oil, click. Her stomach rumbled, $50 by real food, not ramen, and she texted Tara, "Shot it, burgers, pie." "Waiting on Rossi." Tara shot back, proud, "Dinner's on me tonight." Ellie half smiled, chips and deli scraps, Tara's treat. The bus rolled up, exhaust thick, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap. A kid across stared, grubby, maybe 8, his mom dozing beside him. Ellie framed him, click, his eyes wide, then grinned, waving the camera. He waved back, shy, and she pocketed it, the seats rattling as Patterson shrank behind. Back in Newark, Tara's place smelled of salami and bleach, the pullout still out. "How'd it go?" Tara asked, slicing bread, stale, but hers. "Good, shot burgers, fries vibe," Ellie said, dropping her purse, Nikon on the table. "Rossi's got M, waiting." Tara slid her a sandwich, ham crusty, and grinned. $50, better than tips. "If he pays," Ellie said, biting in dry good. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, solid, burgers a keeper, pie 2. $50 tomorrow, next gig Friday, 9 tire shop. Her pulse jumped, paid another, $100 by week's end? Paid, she said, showing Tara, who hooped, slapping the table. Told you, Trump's gold. Ellie nodded, chewing gold, maybe, or luck. She pulled the Nikon, scrolling shots, Joey's grease, Marcy's pie, the kid's stare, hers real. Tara grabbed her phone, snapping Ellie mid-bite, click, laughing. My turn, say cheese. Ellie smirked, swallowing, and leaned back, the sandwich half gone, the camera's weight a quiet hum beside her. Outside, the drizzle tapped the window, softening the streetlight's glow, and she rubbed her eyes, tired, wired, the day sinking in as Tara hummed, slicing more bread. Thursday evening shadows stretched long across Tara's Newark apartment on April 24th, 2025, the air thick with the tang of deli mustard and the hum of a flickering bulb. Ellie Warren sat cross-legged on the pull-out sofa, the borrowed Nikon balanced on her knee, its lens catching the dim light as she scrolled through yesterday's shots. Joey's burgers, Marcy's pie, the kid on the bus. $50 from Rossi had hit her bank app that morning. Real money, not tips, and another gig loomed tomorrow, 9 a.m., a tire shop in Patterson. Her fingers itched, tracing the camera's buttons, the weight of it still foreign but growing familiar. Tara bustled in the kitchenette, her deli apron swapped for a tank top, slicing salami with a dull knife. "50's good, beats coffee stains," she said, grinning over her shoulder. Yeah, covers gas, maybe boots, Ellie said, zooming on the pie shot, gooey, sharp, Rossi's keeper. Tire shop's next, $1.50 more if I don't flop. Tara slid a plate over, salami bread, a pickle wedge, her night shift haul. You won't, Joey's stuff was solid. Eat, you're skinny. Ellie grabbed a slice, chewing slow, salty, good. Her stomach settling after a day of nerves and granola bars. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, tire shop, Rusty's rubber, 9 tomorrow. Shoot tires, tools, grit, not gloss. $50. She texted back, got it, and pocketed it, the Nikon clicking as she snapped Tara's hands mid-slice. Click, blurry but alive. Quit it, Tara laughed, waving the knife, and Ellie grinned, setting the camera down. Practice, Rusty's needs grit. She'd stayed late at Brew Haven today. Lunch shift, $12 in tips. Her hands still smelling of coffee grounds, but the tire gig pulled harder. $50, 2 gigs, $100 by Friday. Real enough to breathe. Night deepened, Tara crashing on her mattress, and Ellie sprawled on the pullout, Nikon charging beside her. She swiped her phone, old shots. Warehouse dusk, Tara's smirk, rain on glass, picking spares for Rossi just in case. Sleep tugged, but her mind raced, tires, tools, grit, clicks she hadn't shot yet. The bulb buzzed, and she drifted off, the cameras hum a quiet anchor. Dawn broke at 6, gray through the blinds, and she jolted up, splashing water on her face, tugging on jeans and her hoodie, clean Tara's wash. She grabbed the Nikon, a granola bar, and bolted. Bus at 7:30, Patterson by 8:50 if it didn't stall. The ride rattled, crowded, a baby crying up front, and Ellie clutched the camera, framing shots in her head, rubber, rust, hands on wrenches. She stepped off at 8:55, the tire shop a block down, Rusty's rubber, a squat garage with a tire stack out front, oil stains pooling in the wet. The bay doors gaped, air thick with rubber and grease, and a guy in coveralls, late 40s, bald, a gut, waved her in. You Rossi's girl? He called, wiping his hands on a rag. Yeah, Ellie here to shoot, she said, lifting the Nikon, her voice steady despite the flutter. Rusty, he said, nodding at a workbench, tires piled, tools scattered. Shoot that, make it look tough. Customers want grit. She knelt, framing a tire, tread worn, rubber scarred, click, then a wrench mid-twist, Rusty's hands smudged, click. Light sucked, dim, flat, and she fumbled the settings. ISO up, she guessed click, better, shadows popping. Good, Rusty asked, peering over. Working on it, she said, shifting for a tire stack. Click, grit, not gloss, Rossi's rule. The garage clanged, air wrench whining, a radio crackling, and she caught it, click, a mechanic's boot kicking rubber, click. Rusty grunted, hauling a tire over. Shoot this, fresh stock, big seller. She angled low, tread gleaming, black against gray, click, click, then stood catching his grin mid-lift, click, tough reel. You're quick, he said, dropping it. Rossi's a hard ass, hope you're sharp. Trying, she said, zooming on a lug nut, click, her hands sure now. She shot till 10:30, tires, tools, grease smears, 40 clicks, maybe 50. Enough? She asked, scrolling the screen, tread sharp, wrench alive. Plenty, tell Rossi Rusty's good, he said, wiping sweat, a half-smile cracking. She packed up, the Nikon heavy, and stepped out, mist lifting, sun poking through. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, send em fast. She sat on a curb, texting 10, tire stack, wrench twist, Rusty's grin. The whoosh quick and loud. 50 more, $100 by tomorrow if he bit. Her stomach growled, granola gone. And she fished a quarter from her pocket, flipping it, heads, food later. The bus rolled up at 11, half empty, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap, snapping a crack in the seat. Click, her eye itching for more. Tara'd be at the deli, lunch shift, and Ellie'd crash there, tell her, $100, maybe boots, maybe real. The ride hummed, Newark's gray looming, and she leaned against the window, the glass cool on her cheek. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, tires are gold, $50 tomorrow, next gig Monday, 10 bakery. Keep it raw. Her pulse jumped, paid again, $150 by Monday? She texted Tara, tires hit, $50 bakery next. Tara shot back, killing it, pizza tonight. Ellie grinned, pocketing it, the Nikon's weighed a quiet pulse against her thigh. The bus jolted, a horn blaring outside, and she rubbed her neck, tired, alive. The city's hum fading as she stared out, the glass fogging with her breath, a smudge of grease on her sleeve catching the light. Sunday afternoon light slanted through the cracked blinds of Tara's Newark apartment on April 27, 2025, catching the dust motes as Ellie Warren sprawled on the pull-out sofa, the Nikon resting on her chest. The air smelled of pizza grease and Tara's cheap lavender spray, a half-eaten pepperoni pie cooling on the coffee table. Her sister's, "You're killing it" treat after Rusty's $50 hit Ellie's account yesterday. Tomorrow's gig loomed, 10 a.m., a bakery in Patterson, Rossi's third job, and her fingers itched, scrolling shots on the camera's tiny screen. Tires, burgers, that kid's stare from the bus. $100 in 2 gigs, real cash, not coffee quarters, and another $50 waiting if she nailed it. Tara flopped beside her, tank top wrinkled from a deli nap, snagging a cold slice. "Bakery tomorrow, donuts, right?" she asked, chewing loud. "Yeah, Rossi wants raw, not fluffy," Ellie said, zooming on a tire tread, rubber-scarred Stark. $50 if I don't choke. Tara grinned, nudging her. "You've got this, tires were gold, burgers too. Eat your bony." Ellie grabbed a slice, greasy good. Her stomach settling after a day of nerves and bus fumes. "Boots soon, $150 by Monday," she said, biting in. "Real ones, leather." Her phone buzzed. Rossi Bakery, sweet grit, 10 tomorrow. Shoot bread, ovens, rough real. $50. She texted back, "Got it," and set it down, the Nikon clicking as she snapped Tara mid-bite. Click, pepperoni dangling. "Jerk," Tara laughed, swatting her, and Ellie smirked, saving it raw, hers. Practice, spreads next. She'd swapped a Brew Haven shift with Mel, another Saturday owed. But $50 beat $10 in tips, and the camera pulled harder than coffee pots now. Tara stretched, yawning. "Sleep, big day. I'm deli till 2, crash here after." Ellie nodded, the pull-out creaking as she shifted. Sleep? Yeah, if her brain quit spinning shots. Morning broke at 6:30, gray and heavy, and Ellie jolted up, splashing sink water on her face, tugging on jeans and her hoodie. Clean, Tara's wash again. She grabbed the Nikon, a granola bar, and bolted. Bus at 7:30, Patterson by 9:50 if it ran smooth. The ride clattered, half full, a guy muttering up front, and she clutched the camera, framing in her head, crust, flour, heat. She stepped off at 9:55, sweet grit a block down. A brick box with a chalkboard sign, fresh daily, the air thick with yeast and sugar even outside. The door creaked open, the bell jangling, and a woman behind the counter, 50s, round, flour-dusted apron, glanced up from kneading dough. "You Rossi's shooter?" she asked, her voice sharp but warm. "Yeah, Ellie," she said, lifting the Nikon, her pulse quick. "Marta," the woman said, nodding at a tray, loaves cooling, crusts cracked. "Shoot those, real stuff, not pretty. Rossi's a grump, make him happy." Ellie slid to a stool, framing a loaf, golden rough, click, the shutter loud over the oven's hum. Light spilled from a window, soft, good. And she clicked again, click, crust sharp, crumbs catching glow. The bakery buzzed, oven doors clanging, Marta's hands slapping dough, and Ellie moved, shooting flour dust midair. Click, a tray of rolls, steam curling, click. Too flat, damn. She tweaked the aperture, half guessing, click, better, depth popping. "Oven's next," Marta said, hauling a tray, buns dark, and Ellie knelt, catching heat waves. Click, then Marta's hands, flour caked, click, real rough. "Good," she asked, scrolling, rolls soft, hands alive. "Looks it," Marta said, peering over. "You're quiet," Rossi likes loud. Ellie half smiled, click, snapping Marta's smirk. Quiet, yeah, but here. She shot till 11:30, loaves, buns, a cracked peel, flour on the floor. 60 clicks, maybe more. Enough? She asked, the Nikon heavy. Plenty. Tell Rossi Marta says pay quick, she said, wiping her brow, a grin breaking. Ellie packed up, stepping out, mist gone, sun weak, and her phone buzzed. Rossi. Send him now. She sat on a step, texting 10, loaf crust, oven glow, Marta's hands, the whoosh fast and sharp. 50 more, $1.50 by tonight if he bit. Her stomach growled, granola crumbs long gone. And she fished a dime from her pocket, flipping it. Tails, no food yet. The bus rolled up at noon, near empty, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap, snapping a peeling ad on the seat. Click, her eye restless. Tara'd be at the deli, lunch rush, and Ellie'd hit Brew Haven after, snag an evening shift if Mel didn't flake. The ride jolted, Patterson fading, Newark rising, and she leaned against the glass, the Nikon's weight a steady hum. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, bread's tight, $1.50 tonight, next gig Wednesday, 11 barbershop. Keep it real. Her pulse spiked, paid again, $200 by Wednesday? She texted Tara, bakeries in $1.50, barbershop next. Tara shot back, Queen, beers on me. The bus hissed to a stop, Newark's gray sprawling, and Ellie stepped off, the air cool on her face. Brew Haven loomed a block away, coffee, tips, her old grind. But she veered to a corner store, the $50 burning a hole. She grabbed a soda, cold fizzy, and a pack of jerky, real food hers, paying with a crumpled 10 from yesterday's tips. She cracked the can, the fizz sharp on her tongue, and leaned against the storefront, jerky torn open, the Nikon slung over her shoulder. Traffic rumbled, horns, engines, and she sipped slow, the can sweating in her hand, her eyes tracing the street's blur, grit, hers, clicking alive. Tuesday evening hummed through Tara's Newark apartment on April 29th, 2025, the air sharp with the bite of cheap beer and the crackle of a radio spitting static from the kitchenette. Ellie Warren sat on the pullout, legs tucked under, the Nikon resting on a pizza box. Empty now, Tara's beers on me promise cashed after Sweet Grit's $50 hit her account that afternoon. $200 in 5 days, 3 gigs, Rossi's raw stamp, and tomorrow's loomed. 11 a.m., a barbershop in Patterson, another $50 if she kept it real. Her fingers brushed the camera, the lens cool, her phone glowing with bakery shots. Crust, flour, Marta's hands, still sharp in her mind. Tara sprawled beside her, tank top damp from a deli shift, popping a beer can, hiss fizz. Barbershop tomorrow, Clippers, right? She asked, sipping loud. Yeah, Rossi wants grit, not shine, Ellie said, scrolling the Nikon screen, rolls, ovens, a tire tread from Rusty's. $1.50 if I don't botch it. Tara grinned, nudging her with the can. You're a pro, $200's boots, and then some. Drink, you're stiff. Ellie took it, the aluminum cold, sip bitter. Her shoulders easing after a Brew Haven lunch shift, $15 in tips jingling in her apron. Her phone buzzed. Rossi barbershop, clip joint 11 tomorrow. Shoot cuts, tools, rough reel. $50. She texted back, got it, and set it down, the Nikon clicking as she snapped Tara mid-sip. Click, foam on her lip. Ass, Tara laughed, swiping at her, and Ellie smirked, saving it raw hers. Practice, Clippers next. She'd swapped an evening shift with Mel. Another favor owed. But $50 trumped $10 in quarters, and the cameras pulled drowned-out coffee steam now. Tara stretched, yawning. Crash, big day. I'm deli till 3, pizza's cold tomorrow. Ellie nodded, the pull-out creaking. Sleep, if her head quit framing shots. Morning broke at 7, gray and heavy, and Ellie rolled off the couch, splashing water on her face, tugging on jeans and her hoodie. Worn but clean. She grabbed the Nikon, a granola bar, and bolted. Bus at 8, Patterson by 10:50 if it didn't lag. The ride rattled, half full, a woman coughing up front, and she clutched the camera, picturing cuts, scissors, fades, grit. She stepped off at 10:55, clip joint a block away. A narrow shop with a barber pole spinning lazy, the air thick with shave cream and motor oil from a garage next door. The door jingled, the bell sharp, and a guy behind a chair, 60s lean, gray mustache, glanced up from sweeping clippings. You Rossi's snapper? He asked, his voice raspy, broom pausing. Yeah, Ellie, she said, lifting the Nikon, her pulse quick. Vince, he said, nodding at a chair, vinyl torn, a mirror smudged. Shoot that, real stuff, not fancy. Rossi's a pain, keep him off me. She slid to a corner, framing the chair. Click, scratches deep, light glinting off the rip. Sun cut through a dusty window, harsh good, and she clicked again, click, texture popping, rough like Vince's hands. The shop buzzed, clippers whirring, a radio crooning oldies, and Ellie moved, shooting a fade mid-cut, click, hair falling, blades sharp. Too tight, damn, she adjusted the zoom. Click, better, motion alive. Tools too, Vince said, tossing scissors on a counter. Click, steel catching light, Nick showing, click. A guy in the next chair, 20s, buzzed sides, grinned, posing. Click, Vince rolling his eyes. Good, she asked, scrolling. Fade crisp, scissors reel. Looks it, Vince said, peering over. You're quiet, Rossi likes noise. Ellie half smiled, click, snapping his mustache twitch. Quiet, yeah, but here. She shot till 12:30, cuts, tools, a cracked sink, clippings on the floor. 50 clicks, maybe 60. Enough? She asked, the Nikon heavy. Plenty. Tell Rossi Vince says pay up, he said, sweeping again, a smirk tugging. She packed up, stepping out, sun breaking gray, air cool, and her phone buzzed, Rossi. Send him fast. She leaned on a pole, texting 10, fade tight, scissors scarred, Vince's grin. The whoosh quick and loud. 50 more, $2.50 by tonight if he bit. Her stomach growled, granola dust, and she dug out a quarter, flipping it, heads food soon. The bus rolled up at 1, near empty, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap, snapping a smudge on the window. Click, her eye restless. Tara'd be at the deli mid-shift, and Ellie'd hit Brew Haven after, snag a night shift if Mel held. The ride hummed, Newark's gray rising, and she pulled her hoodie tighter, the quarter cold in her palm. Her phone buzzed, Rossi. Cuts are gold, $1.50 tonight, next gig Friday, 10 pawn shop. Keep it raw. Her pulse spiked, paid again, $300 by Friday? She texted Tara, barbershops in $50, pawn shop next. Tara shot back, boss, wings tonight. The bus jolted to a stop, Newark's hum spilling in, and Ellie stepped off, the air sharp with exhaust and wet pavement. Brew Haven loomed, coffee, tips, her old grind. But she veered to a bodega, $50 itching her pocket. She grabbed a soda, fizzy cold, and a pack of gum, mint cheap, paying with a crumpled 5 from tips. She popped a piece, the snap loud in her teeth, and leaned against a lamppost, soda can sweating in her grip. A kid's skateboard passed, click, wheels blurring, the Nikon quick in her hands. She chewed slow, mint sharp, the street pulsing, cars, voices, and she stood there, the camera slung low, her shadow stretching thin across the cracked concrete. Thursday afternoon light filtered through the smudged windows of Tara's Newark apartment on May 1st, 2025, casting a dull glow over the pull-out sofa where Ellie Warren sat, the Nikon perched on her lap. The air carried the faint whiff of Tara's deli leftovers, salami, mustard, and the buzz of a TV flickering in the corner, some game show Tara'd left on. $300 sat in her account, 4 gigs, Rossi's raw seal, and tomorrow's loomed. 10 a.m., a pawn shop in Patterson, another $50 if she kept the streak. Her fingers danced over the camera, scrolling shots, clippers, bread, tires. Each click a brick in something she couldn't name yet. Tara slumped beside her, fresh from a shower, her damp hair dripping onto a faded tee. Pawn shop tomorrow, guitars, huh? She asked, cracking a soda, his fizz. Yeah, Rossi wants rough, not shiny, Ellie said, zooming on Vince's fade, hair sharp, blades glinting. $1.50 if I don't muff it. Tara grinned, sipping loud. You're rolling, $300's boots and a burger. Drink, you're wired. Ellie took the can, cold, sweet. Her hand steady after a Brew Haven evening shift, $18 in tips jingling in her pocket. Her phone buzzed, Rossi, pawn shop, pawn king, 10 tomorrow. Shoot goods, grit, real stuff. $50. She texted back, got it, and set it down, the Nikon clicking as she snapped Tara mid-sip. Click, bubbles catching light. Quit, Tara laughed, swatting her, and Ellie smirked, saving it raw hers. Practice, pawns next. She'd swapped a lunch shift with Mel, another favor stacked. But $50 outshone $12 in quarters, and the camera's hum drowned out coffee steam now. Tara stretched, yawning. Sleep, big day. I'm deli till 4, crash after. Ellie nodded, the pull-out creaking. Sleep, if her mind quit framing shots. Morning broke at 7, gray and thick, and Ellie rolled up, splashing water on her face, tugging on jeans and her hoodie, clean, hers now $20 from tips. She grabbed the Nikon, a granola bar, and bolted. Bus at 8, Patterson by 9:50 if it held. The ride rattled, half full, a guy snoring up front, and she clutched the camera, picturing goods, rings, guitars, grit. She stepped off at 9:55, pawn king a block down. A brick box with a gold crown sign. We buy anything. The air sharp with metal and dust from a scrap yard nearby. The door creaked, the bell jangling, and a guy behind the counter, 40s, wiry, a patchy beard, glanced up from sorting chains. "You Rossi's shooter?" he asked, his voice gruff, a ring clinking on glass. "Yeah, Ellie," she said, lifting the Nikon, her pulse quick. "Ray," he said, nodding at a shelf, guitars scratched, watches dulled. "Shoot that. Real junk, not polished. Rossi's a nag, keep him quiet." She slid to a corner, framing a guitar. Strings rusted, wood chipped, click. The shutter loud over a radio's static hum. Light cut through a grimy window, flat, tricky, and she clicked again. Click, scratches deep, dust glinting. The shop clinked, chains rattling, a fan whirring, and Ellie moved, shooting a watch mid-tick. Click, glass scratched, hands stuck, click. Too dim, damn. She tweaked the ISO. Click, better, shadows popping. "Goods too," Ray said, tossing a ring tray, gold dulled, a dented band. Click, fingers smudged, click. A guy in the back, 30s, buzzed hair, haggled over a chain, click, Ray's scowl sharp, click. "Good," she asked, scrolling, guitar rough, ring real. "Looks it," Ray said, peering over. "You're soft, Rossi likes loud." Ellie half smiled, click, snapping his beard twitch. "Soft, yeah, but here." She shot till 11:30, guitars, rings, a busted radio, dust on glass. 50 clicks, maybe 60. "Enough?" she asked, the Nikon heavy. "Plenty. Tell Rossi Ray says cough it up," he said, sorting chains, a smirk tugging. She packed up, stepping out, sun breaking gray, air cool, and her phone buzzed. "Rossi, send him quick." She sat on a curb, texting 10, guitar scars, ring dents, Ray's scowl, the whoosh fast and sharp. 50 more, $3.50 by tonight if he bit. Her stomach growled, granola crumbs, and she dug out a dime, flipping it, tails, food later. The bus rolled up at noon, near empty, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap, snapping a crack in the floor. Click, her eye restless. Tara'd be at the deli, lunch rush, and Ellie'd hit Brew Haven after, snag a shift if Mel didn't bail. The ride hummed, Newark's gray looming, and she pulled her hoodie tighter, the dime warm in her palm. Her phone buzzed. "Rossi, pawns tight, $1.50 tonight, next gig Monday, 9 Junkyard. Keep it raw." Her pulse spiked, paid again, $400 by Monday? She texted Tara, "Pawns in $1.50, Junkyard next." Tara shot back, "Star, tacos tonight." The bus jolted to a stop, Newark's hum spilling in, and Ellie stepped off, the air sharp with diesel and wet brick. Brew Haven loomed, coffee, tips, her old grind. But she veered to a park bench, $50 itching her pocket. She grabbed a soda from a vending machine, fizzy cold, paying with a crumpled 10, and sat, the can cool against her lips. She popped the tab, hiss, and sipped slow, the Nikon beside her, snapping a pigeon pecking crumbs, click, wings blurring. A breeze kicked up, rustling leaves, and she leaned back, soda halfway gone, her eyes tracing the bird's hop, grit, hers, flickering alive on the bench's chipped wood. Sunday dusk settled over Tara's Newark apartment on May 4th, 2025. The sky bruising purple through the blinds as Ellie Warren slumped on the pullout, the Nikon cradled in her lap. The air hung heavy with the tang of hot sauce and the faint buzz of a fan Tara had dragged from the closet. Her tacos tonight, vow cashed with a greasy bag from the corner joint. $400 sat in Ellie's account, 5 gigs, Rossi's raw mark, and tomorrow's loomed. 9 a.m., a junkyard in Patterson, another $50 if she kept the streak alive. Her fingers brushed the camera, scrolling shots, pawn rings, barbershop fades, bakery crust. Each click a thread in a web she couldn't quite map. Tara sprawled beside her, barefoot in a tank top, munching a taco, crumbs on her chest. "Junkyard tomorrow, cars, huh?" she asked, licking sauce off her thumb. "Yeah, Rossi wants rough, not clean," Ellie said, zooming on Ray's dented ring, gold dulled real. $1.50 if I don't tank. Tara grinned, tossing her a taco, warm, messy. "Your golden $400's boots and a bed soon. Eat your thin." Ellie caught it, biting in, spicy good. Her stomach easing after a Brew Haven night shift, $20 in tips jingling loose. Her phone buzzed. "Rossi, junkyard, Patterson scrap, 9 tomorrow. Shoot Rex, metal grit reel. $50. She texted back, "Got it," and set it down, the Nikon clicking as she snapped Tara mid-chew. Click, sauce smudging her chin. "Punk," Tara laughed, swiping at her, and Ellie smirked, saving it, raw hers. "Practice, Rex next." She'd swapped a morning shift with Mel, another debt stacked. But $50 outdid $15 in coins, and the camera's hum buried coffee steam now. Tara stretched, yawning. "Sleep, big day." I'm deli till 5, crash after. Ellie nodded, the pull-out groaning. Sleep, if her head quit framing rust. Morning broke at 6:30, gray and thick, and Ellie rolled up, splashing water on her face, tugging on jeans and her hoodie. Hers, $20 from tips. She grabbed the Nikon, a granola bar, and bolted. Bus at 7:30, Patterson by 8:50 if it ran tight. The ride clattered, half full, a kid kicking the seat, and she clutched the camera, picturing Rex, Hulk's steel grit. She stepped off at 8:55, Patterson scrap a block out. A sprawl of twisted metal behind a chain-link fence, the air sharp with rust and oil. A crane groaning in the distance. The gate creaked, a buzzer rasping, and a guy at a shack, 50s burly, a scarred cheek, glanced up from a clipboard. "You Rossi's snapper?" he asked, his voice gravelly, a wrench clinking on his desk. "Yeah, Ellie," she said, lifting the Nikon, her pulse quick. "Frank," he said, nodding at a heap, cars crushed, fenders jagged. "Shoot that, real mess, not neat. Rossi's a hard ass, keep him off me." She slid past, framing a wreck, paint peeled, glass cracked, click, the shutter loud over a grinder's whine. Sun cut through clouds, harsh good, and she clicked again, click, rust flaking, edges biting. The yard clanged, metal scraping, a forklift rumbling, and Ellie moved, shooting a fender mid-tier. Click, steel bending, dust swirling, click. Too bright, damn. She tweaked the shutter speed. Click, better, shadows deep. "Piles too," Frank said, hauling a hubcap. Click, dent scarred, oil slick, click. A worker in the back, 40s, gloves torn, tossed scrap, click, his snarl sharp, click. "Good," she asked, scrolling, wreck raw, hubcap reel. "Looks it," Frank said, peering over. "You're quiet, Rossi likes loud." Ellie half smiled, click, snapping his scar twitch. "Quiet, yeah, but here." She shot till 10:30, wrecks, piles, a busted engine, rust on rails, 60 clicks, maybe 70. "Enough?" she asked, the Nikon heavy. "Plenty. Tell Rossi Frank says pay up," he said, tossing the hubcap, a grin cracking. She packed up, stepping out, sun steady, air cool, and her phone buzzed. "Rossi, send him now." She leaned on a fence post, texting 10 wreck scars, hubcap dents, Frank's snarl, the whoosh fast and loud. 50 more, $4.50 by tonight if he bit. Her stomach growled, granola dust, and she flipped a quarter, heads food soon. The bus rolled up at 11, half empty, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap, snapping a dent in the door. Click, her eye restless. Tara'd be at the deli, mid-shift, and Ellie'd hit Brew Haven after, snag a shift if Mel held. The ride hummed, Newark's gray rising, and she pulled her hoodie tighter, the quarter warm in her palm. Her phone buzzed, Rossi, Junk's Gold, $1.50 tonight, next gig Thursday, 10 diner again. Keep it raw. Her pulse spiked, paid again, $500 by Thursday? She texted Tara, Junkyards and $1.50 diner next. Tara shot back, legend, fries tonight. The bus jolted to a stop, Newark's hum spilling in, and Ellie stepped off, the air sharp with wet pavement and exhaust. Brew Haven loomed, coffee, tips, her old grind. But she veered to a food cart, $50 burning her pocket. She grabbed a hot dog, mustard warm, paying with a crumpled 10, and stood by the curb, biting in salty reel. The Nikon hung low, snapping a stray dog nosing trash, click, tail blurring. Horns blared, a breeze tugging her hood, and she chewed slow, mustard smearing her fingers, the city's pulse thumping, grit hers, flickering sharp against the cart's chipped paint. Wednesday evening light bled through the blinds of Tara's Newark apartment on May 7th, 2025, casting a soft haze over the pull-out sofa where Ellie Warren sat, the Nikon resting on her knee. The air hummed with the scent of fried onions, and the low crackle of a radio Tara had tuned to some old rock station. Her fries tonight, promise cashed with a greasy takeout bag from the diner down the street. $500 sat in Ellie's account, 6 gigs, Rossi's raw stamp, and tomorrow's loomed. 10 a.m., back at Joey's grease pit in Patterson, another $50 if she kept it rolling. Her fingers traced the camera's lens, scrolling shots, junkyard wrecks, pawn rings, barbershop fades. Each click a piece of a life she'd stumbled into. Tara flopped beside her, fresh from a deli shift, her tea damp with sweat, snagging a fry, crisp, salty. "Diner again tomorrow. Burgers Redux?" she asked, munching loud. "Yeah, Rossi wants more grit," Ellie said, zooming on Frank's hubcap, dents scarred, rust alive. $1.50 if I don't flake. Tara grinned, tossing her a fry, hot, greasy. "You're a machine, $500's boots and a real bed. Eat, you're scrawny." Ellie caught it, biting in, crunch good. Her stomach settling after a Brew Haven lunch shift, $14 in tips jingling loose. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, diner, Joey's, 10 tomorrow. Shoot plates, vibe, rough, real. $50. She texted back, got it, and set it down, the Nikon clicking as she snapped Tara mid-chew. Click, fry dangling. Jerk, Tara laughed, swiping at her, and Ellie smirked, saving it raw hers. Practice, plates next. She'd swapped an evening shift with Mel, another IOU. But $50 outshone $10 in coins, and the camera's hum-buried coffee steam now. Tara stretched, yawning. Sleep, big day. I'm deli till 6, crash after. Ellie nodded, the pull-out creaking. Sleep, if her head quit framing grease. Morning broke at 6:30, gray and thick, and Ellie rolled up, splashing water on her face, tugging on jeans and her hoodie, hers worn soft. She grabbed the Nikon, a granola bar, and bolted. Bus at 7:30, Patterson by 9:50 if it held. The ride rattled, half full, a guy snoring up front, and she clutched the camera, picturing plates, burgers, fries, grit. She stepped off at 9:55, Joey's grease pit a block down, neon buzzing, grease thick in the air. The bell clanged as she pushed in, the grill hissing, and Joey, stocky, sweaty, glanced up from flipping patties. You again, Rossi's shooter? He asked, his voice rough, a spatula scraping. Yeah, Ellie, she said, lifting the Nikon, her pulse steady now. Back for more. Joey, he said, nodding at a booth, plates stacked, fries spilling. Shoot that, real junk, not cute. Rossi's a nag, keep him happy. She slid in, framing a burger. Patty juicy, bun cracked. Click, the shutter loud over the radio's twang. Sun cut through a smudged window, soft, good. And she clicked again, click, grease glinting, ketchup pooling. The diner buzzed, orders barked, trays clattering, and Ellie moved, shooting fries mid-scatter. Click, crumbs sharp, oil shining, click. Too flat, damn. She tweaked the aperture. Click, better, depth alive. Vibe 2, Joey said, slinging a plate. Eggs runny, toast charred, click, his hands smudged, click. Marcy popped her gum, leaning over, click, her smirk sharp, click. Good, she asked, scrolling, burger raw, eggs real. Looks it, Joey said, peering over. You're quiet, Rossi likes loud. Ellie half smiled, click, snapping his spatula flick. Quiet, yeah, but here. She shot till 11:30, plates, hands, a chipped mug, grease on the grill, 60 clicks, maybe 70. Enough? She asked, the Nikon heavy. Plenty. Tell Rossi Joey says pay up, he said, flipping a patty, a grin tugging. She packed up, stepping out, sun steady, air cool, and her phone buzzed. Rossi, send him fast. She sat on a curb, texting 10, burger shine, egg drip, Marcy's gum, snap, the whoosh quick and loud. 50 more, $5.50 by tonight if he bit. Her stomach growled, granola gone, and she flipped a quarter, heads food now. The bus rolled up at noon, half empty, and she climbed on, the Nikon in her lap, snapping a smudge on the seat. Click, her eye restless. Tara'd be at the deli, late shift, and Ellie'd hit Brew Haven after, snag a night if Mel held. The ride hummed, Newark's gray rising, and she pulled her hoodie tighter, the quarter warm in her palm. Her phone buzzed. Rossi, diner's gold, $50 tonight, next gig next week, call me. Her pulse spiked, paid again, $600 by tonight? Next week, call? She texted Tara, diners in $50, Rossi says call. Tara shot back, boss, beer's cold. The bus jolted to a stop, Newark's hum spilling in, and Ellie stepped off, the air sharp with wet brick and exhaust. Brew Haven loomed, coffee, tips, her old grind, but she veered to a stoop, $50 itching her pocket. She grabbed a soda from a corner store, fizzy cold, paying with a crumpled 10, and sat, the can cool against her lips. She popped it, hiss, and sipped slow, the Nikon beside her, snapping a crack in the step. Click, lines spidering out. A breeze tugged her hood, horns blaring down the block, and she leaned back, soda half gone, her fingers tapping the can, grit, hers, ringing sharp as the city's pulse faded into the dusk. Where are you listening from today? If you enjoyed this story of hope and second chances, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content like this. Don't forget to share with your friends and family to help spread kindness and awareness about homelessness and the untapped talent that exists in every community. Remember, sometimes the greatest potential is found in the most unexpected places. Thank you for listening.